Bukayo Saka is going to be really, really key. You can see Mendes gets up and down, and how Saka deals with that, how he tracks back, how he sort of stays high up the pitch to provide an option on the counter-attack. That's going to be really important as well. So yeah, as we said, there's a lot of talk about Desiree Doué, Ousmane Dembele, Kavisha Kvaratskhelia. But actually, PSG are a lot more than just a really talented front three. They've actually got full-backs that really like to commit to the attack. So yeah, it's going to be a big test for Arsenal tonight, for sure.
OK, Arsenal will have good memories of this fixture from October. There is a butt coming. How different do these sides look? Yeah,
this was the Arsenal team that started that 2-0 win in October, and sort of the big things that sort of come out is Gabriel and Calafiori. They're unlikely to be involved in this game. Well, Gabriel's out for the season and Calafiori didn't train yesterday. But again, we sort of seen this 4-4-2 formation from Arsenal, which saw Trossard basically move from that centre forward in towards that midfield role, and then doubled up with Gabriel Martinelli on the wing. And also, it was a Champions League debut off the bench for Miles Lewis-Skelly, and that just shows his rise, isn't it? That was his Champions League debut. He's probably favourite tonight to start in that left-back role, and very, very deservedly so as well. Now, in terms of PSG, that's an even bigger change for them, because you can see the key players missing at the top end of the pitch. Obviously, they hadn't signed Kavisha Kvaratskhelia yet. He joined in January from Napoli. But also Ousmane Dembele, who's been one of the top players in Europe this season. He was left out of the squad by Luis Enrique for disciplinary reasons. And Luis Enrique was speaking about that the other day, and he said that was probably one of the best decisions of the season, because it forced Dembele to focus on his game and then deliver these really excellent numbers as well. Fabian Ruiz was on the bench as well for PSG, so he's probably likely to start over Warren Emery, and they also had Marco Asensio and Randall Kolo Muani on the bench as well. So they had firepower, but they just didn't get it right at the top end of the pitch. So yeah, it'll be a very, very different PSG side. So Arsenal shouldn't really be using the October game as a real reference for how the semi-final is going to go.
So even that sort of optimism you've just deflated as well. So a huge game awaits. What chance do we give Arsenal of winning the Champions League?
Well, the Opta supercomputer is very confident. They have a 31% chance. They say Arsenal are the favourites over PSG. They're probably using that 2-0 win in October as a reference. They're probably also using the fact that Arsenal finished high up in the league phase, and they also beat Real Madrid in the last round. The bookies actually have Barcelona as favourites, with PSG as second favourites, and Arsenal have to settle for third on that one. But Arsenal can come into this semi-final with a lot of confidence. They have beaten Real Madrid in the last round. There are no bigger tests in terms of aura, in terms of mentality, than beating Real Madrid home and away. So Arsenal will go into this game feeling they can beat anyone left in this competition. However, it's just a question of, whether the stage of the Emirates is going to be a great atmosphere tonight, whether that's going to play its part.
So having heard all that, it'll be Inter Milan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what do the numbers know after all?
All right.
OK, so former Arsenal striker and Sky Sports co-commentator Alan Smith. Very good to see you, Alan. Now, look, this is a huge game tonight for Arsenal in Europe. Is this the biggest game of the Arteta era, do you think?
Yes, I think it is, to be honest with you. The Real Madrid game was the biggest of his tenure, and now this, of course, is even bigger. The lads responded against Real Madrid, and let's hope they can do so again. And, he's pumping up the crowd in the way that he did in the previous round. The Emirates can play a huge part, but, they also need something to shout about. They need their team to step up. And big players relish this sort of occasion. The best players do produce, they do step up. So the Gunners can do that.
Now, some fans might not remember it, but you know what I'm about to say here. I can tell by that smile on your face. 31 years ago, you helped Arsenal to their only major European honour, the Cup Winners' Cup in '94. It was a 1-0 win over Parma. And guess who scored the only goal? Yeah, it was you. Tell us what you remember about it. We'd love to hear some of your memories from that.
I'm sure you don't remember it. It was a wonderful night. We were massive underdogs against Parma, who were the holders of the trophy. And they had some great players. Gianfranco Zola before he went to Chelsea. Asprilla, who went to Newcastle after that. Thomas Brolin, when he was in peak form. They had half of Italy's World Cup squad that went to the States that year for the World Cup. Ian Wright was suspended. John Jensen, our midfielder, had done his cruciate. Martin Keown failed the late fitness test. So we were kind of really up against it. But our defence, our back four stroke back five back there with David Seaman was at its peak, I think. So once I'd scored that goal in the first half, it was about one of the few shots we had all night, to be honest with you. It was quite a spectacular one by my standards, just outside the box. But once I had scored, we rode our luck a bit, or quite a lot, to be honest, but we scored too. So it was a magnificent night, it really was. And who'd have thought then that would be the trophy in Europe Arsenal would have won?
Yeah, I was just about to ask you about that. Did you think at that time that would remain, the club's only major triumph in Europe until, what could be now?
Yeah, amazing, really, for a club of Arsenal stature. They should have more on the table. The following year, we got to the Cup Winners' Cup final again, lost in the last seconds to Real Sociedad. Naeem from the halfway line, all Spurs fans know that saying. Got to the UEFA Cup, wasn't it, against Galatasaray. Got to the Champions League final in, what was it? It was a good few years ago now, against Barcelona, when Jens Lehmann got sent off for a foul on Samuel Eto'o, and obviously against Barcelona with 10 men. Even that fantastic side didn't quite have it. So, yeah, there's been opportunities in finals against Chelsea as well, a few years back, and Arsenal just haven't been able to grab them. So, listen, not even at the final stage yet. So you cross that bridge when we come to it. But to get past PSG, having got past Real Madrid, that would do wonders for the confidence of the club.